This time, I had more control. This is what nobody tells us about these AI, these gold rushes. They feel like confusion, a lot of noise, too many people shouting at once, and everybody's pretending or thinking or even convinced they have found something valuable. But which one is a more valuable idea? Which one is actually gold? The first time I talked to ChatGPT, I wasn't trying to build a company. It was about understanding statistics. Nerd alert. Well, it was mid-2023. I was preparing for my first statistics course as part of my MBA at the University of Ottawa. And this would be my fifth statistics course in my lifetime. And I had been struggling in statistics for my entire life. Now, the pre-reading sat open in front of me, discrete versus continuous variables. Simple topic for some, but statistics had always been that one subject, as I just said. It didn't matter how slow I went or how many times I reread the same paragraph. The words stayed on the page. They didn't cross over here. And for more than 10 years, this pain lived in my head rent-free. Because I knew if I wanted to be good at business, I had to understand how numbers behave, and not only how they look in a spreadsheet or in a chart, but to actually understand the data behind it so I can make better decisions. So I tried everything. I had tried everything before. I had even been a student at Brilliant.org. I had done courses in Coursera. I watched videos on YouTube. And I even did the thing where you read the same sentence over and over until your brain gives up and pretends it understood something. But I wasn't getting anywhere meaningful. And then came that moment. So I thought maybe I discuss it with ChatGPT, this new AI tool. And I typed this question. It gave me an answer which was similar to any textbook. It was logical. The question was, what's the difference between discrete and continuous variables? But this is where I could do something. I asked it again, and this time I asked, could you explain it using filmmaking language? So this time it tried again, and this time I could understand it a little bit better because it was talking about photographic images versus videos on a camera where it's like multiple frames of photos showing at the same time. Because I understood that concept, I could see the discrete and continuous variables differently. And then I asked again, explain using football or soccer terms, explain it using cricket terms. And I started asking random questions, and I could see that while none of these explanations were fully perfect, but I was finally able to move faster to grow my understanding. And I kept pushing. I said, explain it like a scene directed by Christopher Nolan. I again asked, explain it like Steven Spielberg would show it. And at some point, the concept landed completely. If you've seen The Matrix, there's a moment where Neo stops seeing the world as objects and starts seeing the code behind it. This was not that moment. It wasn't that magical, but it was close to an aha moment for sure. And I could see that if I spend more time with this tool, I will be able to see the code behind the matrix. The machine wasn't smarter than my professors, but it mapped me exactly where I was. It was ready to listen. It was ready to go where I wanted to go. I could have never asked all these questions to a professor without being annoying. And trust me, I've tried. Even in classroom, your friends are listening, they make jokes, or the professor sometimes wants to move on to the more important topic. So it's so hard to ask these many questions in as many weird ways my weird brain thinks about it. But I can ask the AI is cooperating. So that was the moment when I felt something strong in me, and I didn't sleep well that night because I knew what I had just seen, and it kind of rang a bell across many different memories. I'm going to go back in time a little bit. So in 1999, I was a very young teenager, and I had just discovered Windows 98. Personal computers were these new devices that were going to be introduced in Bangladesh, and it was getting popular. And mostly it was a video game playing device initially, but then I started to learn how to type and create PowerPoint slides and take printouts, use Paint It. So I saw, besides my own usage, in the next few years, all the major offices and every household that could afford it got personal computers. In 2005, I saw the rise of social media. Platforms like MySpace and High5 were like playgrounds, and then eventually Facebook came up and swallowed everything and rewrote how people connect. In 2009, I watched a documentary about Bitcoin, and back then it was barely taken seriously. One Bitcoin was worth about $100. $100. And I remembered thinking it made sense. I don't have an international credit card to buy this, or any card to buy this, so any international card to buy this. Now, all these moments came back because I could see this technology having a similar growth. And this time I wasn't observing as a teenager, or I wasn't observing as someone who didn't have access to an international credit card. This time I was in the matrix and I could also pull out. This time I had more control. And this is what nobody tells us about these AI, these gold rushes. Gold rushes don't feel like gold rushes when you're in them. They feel like confusion, a lot of noise, too many people shouting at once, and everybody's pretending or thinking or even convinced they have found something valuable. But which one is a more valuable idea? Which one is actually gold, sizable gold? Which one is actually an AI diamond? These are things that I'm looking into now. And since then, my company that I had started later on has grown. We are serving customers now. We are making a monthly revenue above $10,000 each month. And I looked back at the journey and I wrote a book about it, and the book will be launched very soon. But this is not a plug to buy that book. You don't have to. I will share the lessons here as well, because I know not everybody loves to read. And these videos, that's what I keep telling myself, like I'm making these videos to share what I have learned so others can use it, and others can also learn about the dark side of AI and how can we protect ourselves from that. So that's basically the intention. But I know there are people like me who like to learn more, who are more curious. So that's why I mentioned the book here. And we'll talk more about these topics. If you liked this video, hit the like button, write in the comments anything you've thought about, and if any topic you found interest in, or any comments you have. And of course, subscribe if you want to know more, and you can hit the bell button to get every update from every video that we upload. Thank you and have a great day.